Oh, yeah, it's just like an empty room. We just go through the zones and prepare organs, like rework and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
It's cool you do that. I've thought about doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could stay on committee
I'm on
work.
my second term, so probably after 3 years, I think I'm going to be a gear farm. It's not a huge commitment. It's like, it's cool. No, but I was looking for absolutely.
Are you pro development?
Yeah. We live in a small town. So. Christine, do you come to every single one of these?
Usually. I don't play as much. Bobby does. I don't do the work anymore.
Okay.
Bobby does it.
I'm on the planning commission in East Grand Rapids.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe once every 6 months there's something new. It's very slow.
It depends on what we bring forward,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I seem to bring things I bring tend to bring if I'm doing it. So, yeah.
It's almost like from like a company.
Yeah, it totally really depends.
Yeah. I've had some projects that, like when I had to present with this project.
We've had like every inch of this place filled, like fire hazard galore, you know, atrium filled, community room filled. When we did the commercial zoning code, because I presented on it almost every meeting for 6 months, an update, talk about what we're doing. We would regularly have a dozen, two in the audience.
Yeah.
Depends on
Speaking about zoning and this project, I had a meeting with Tower this week. I know you've asked a couple times about.
I mean, that's your schedule. I don't know why I asked.
No, it's good. And I did. So the architectural folks and the site folks from Tower right now, they're working on their at least initial stats at like a zoning survey.
So here's what my concern is that site plan firms are going to be done. They're going to, you guys are going to be done. You're going to want site plan, start site plan, kind of figure out this facade out.
Okay, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
Right, and so I just don't want, that just puts pressure on us to, you know, it's just too much work on us, right? And that's why that is the only reason why I guess
No,
I feel
so
like there's going to be some mismatch at some point.
absolutely. And so I mean, I really want to take you up on your offer of sitting down with us and going through that. So they're just putting some initial thought into it. And then, so what I was going with that is, I think we're going to be, it's probably going to come from maybe Steve or Tim.
So if you can make that
requesting a file to sit down with you and go through this. He's one of their, he's a project manager, at least on this one.
The range.
But so that should be coming soon. Any question for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were going to talk to they were going to talk amongst themselves. I mean, I really think that we need to have a discussion with them, which says, it's for us to say, obviously, for us to talk about what is going to be part of this project and what is going to be part of this bigger, right? You know, who's footing the bill, right? And what does it look like? Prior to the county, justice and partnership, it would have been a much easier discussion. Right? They're really well concerned now that that's gated off with the for those 30 to 60 days on the park, depending on Suez Gas, also depending on their timelines. Suez Gas is working from Park on Water Street, starting from Park, moving east, around the same time that you guys would be on Park, and have it closed water main. So, I mean, that's not guaranteed. That was something we need to be mindful of. As much as they have their Water Street access, or Suez. Yeah, I'll check with Becca on those that we might have to help align. I'm sure we have some. So I don't know if the city can help with what's in the center property. You guys take the right of way portion. You know, I mean, I don't know. This is what we just agreed on. Soon, but not. I don't feel urgent to me.
No.
Because we still. One of them is the trade. Because he's just trying to figure out where I go. Oh, the other thing is,
We're going both ways. I was like, I'm glad. I was like, just in case, tell her whenever she can.
But we'll be soon, I think.
so do you think mid-April you guys are going to want that?
On the Zoom side?
All right, Bobby, you ready for us?
Yeah, my computer should be up in time for the
Oh.
presentation.
All right. I'll talk slowly. Hi, good evening. All right. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. We will call to order this Thursday, March 7th, 2024 meeting of the City of Kalamazoo Planning Commission. If we can get a roll call vote, or get a roll call.
Yep.
We need a vote.
Thank you, Chair Milliken. Let's see, Burgess?
Here?
Chambers?
Here.
Curtis?
Here.
DeCenzo?
Here.
Harrison? Milliken?
Here.
Patelko? Pitts?
Here.
And Swan.
All right, thank you. We have quorum. We received an agenda for this evening's meetings. Is there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Nope, no changes.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move for approval of the agenda.
Motion by Burgess, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Curtis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. We also got the minutes from the February 1st meeting. Any comments, changes, questions? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve those February 1st minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Curtis, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by DeCenzo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Any communications and announcements?
No communications and announcements.
Okay, then we'll move right into public hearings. As a reminder, with the public hearings, we'll hear from staff, then we'll hear from the applicant, then we'll open the public hearing. Members of the audience will have 3 minutes to come up. We'll ask that you state your name and your address, and maybe write your name on the pad up there as well so that we can get that right in the minutes, and give your comments, and then we'll close the public hearing. If you're watching online, that phone number to call in is 888-382-9556, and we'll take your comments after the folks that are in the audience have a chance to speak. If you want to call in on something not related to this specific public hearing item, there will be an opportunity later in the agenda with the same phone number, and we'll take those comments at that time. So with that, we will open up public hearing PC 2024.07, the vacation of the northern 17 feet of West Water Street between North Park Street and North Westnedge Avenue.
Beth, do you know if you had to switch the inputs? It's not displaying my computer. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Milliken. In front of you tonight is a request. It's a partial street vacation, a little different than some of the other ones. We've had a good mix of different types as this arena's moved forward. This request is to vacate the northern 17 feet of West Water Street between North Park and North Westnedge. For reference, the right-of-way itself is 66 feet wide total. Just a little bit of background before we got here for the context. In the recent months, there's been the Eleanor and Cooley Street vacation, and then the blue vacation were some unimproved roads. And then you can see in purple and orange are Cooley and another alley, which has assembled the big square here. And now in front of us a little later is a request to vacate the northern 17 feet, which you could probably determine is extending would potentially expand the buildable area for the arena. I know in the applicant's presentation they'll have some more of the layout, but generally north of the creek there is where the arena is, and then the parking facilities and outdoor area is shown to the south side of the creek. Taking a closer look at this area, here's a zoom in of one of the surveys there. The 17 feet comes in just a little bit from that northern curb line, and in recent weeks and months there's been utility coordination for the utility work that would go in and around the property. So those conversations and designs have been taking into account this narrower road right away, and so far it's looking like all of that can fit. An extra unique item to this one is the applicant proposes with the vacated 17 feet to put over that 4-foot easement back to the city for it says sidewalk and utilities. The nature for that extra request is in the designs for the parking structure, there's underground footings, and the building is proposed to be at the property line, but those would have to be wider and go out into the road. For construction projects, the city doesn't want physical buildings above ground or below ground in the right-of-way. So a way to make sure that the sidewalk widths and that open space can be done, that's why the 4-foot easement back to the city is coming into play, to keep the footers potentially out of the right-of-way, but make sure that the surface still has public pass-through. It's a mechanism the city's used before where, due to some old natures or sidewalks put in the wrong spot, an easement to make sure access can be maintained. So that is something that they're proposing. I think the original consideration was 13 feet, so your 17 feet gets you where you need to go. Here's a couple photographs of the area. This is looking east, so the development for the future arena would be on the left side of the screen there. All of the properties there on the other side of the road are owned by the applicant. All the portions adjacent to the area to be vacated are owned by the applicant. And then here is the view, Water Street looking back west, where the arena would be on the right side. And again, that 17 feet is just a little bit past the curb there onto the right. And just for, zooming in right on that area, that's looking right down the middle of this potentially vacated area. So for what is proposed, how it all fits in, this is a schematic. If you're looking down Water Street, this would be looking to the west. And you can see the dimensions down there for the sidewalks, the roadways. In that utility coordination meeting, road widths, design, and all that's been taken into effect. While it is a narrower right-of-way, the road is still designed to meet the maximum width needed, so it's big enough for the public services vehicles, the fire trucks, and then, obviously any of the access on the north side could still be maintained. If it fits our largest vehicles, they're designed for the most you need to respond. And then the parking garage you see there would be, about 4 feet in on the future property line, and then under that sidewalk a little bit, probably some foundations. So that's a reason. In addition, it isn't just because the applicant can't fit the parking garage, the idea, they may have it in some of their more renderings, is where that creek would be between the parking structure and the arena, the intent is to create a more open feel there. So getting a little bit more of that to the south opens up that area, less shadow effect, was a big motivator to look for a little bit of space here on the north side of Water Street. Going over the various maps and aerials, you can see this aerial photo here covering that northern 17 feet of the road. Westnedge is on the left, Park Street on the right there, and Cooley and all that is now gone to the north. The road is there, but it's all part of the land now. Looking at the zoning map, you could see everything adjacent to it is Zone D2, where the rest of the arena property would be that, and an arena is a approved land use in that zone. Here's the existing land use. The red is commercial, the blue is vacant or not classified, and you can see with all the recent demolitions, it reflects on that map there. And lastly on the maps is the future land use map. This stretch of Water Street and the rest of the area is all shown in the downtown classification. Instead of the zoning ordinance, the standards for a street vacation come out of the street vacation policy, which is a city commission policy. And in the staff report here, I'll go over those and how staff came to their recommendation on this. A is the right-of-way is unimproved. That does not apply in this case because the road is improved, it is there, it is used. The right-of-way is improved but is not publicly used or sees limited use by the public. And if there is a limited use by the public, a parallel route in close proximity exists. The trunk lines to the north and south of this, being Michigan Avenue and Kalamazoo Avenue, handle the bulk of traffic now and are designed to handle the bulk of traffic after the two-way conversion. In those meetings about the utility relocation, the traffic flows are being looked at, or the design for the future two-way conversion. So it's covered even then as well for the two-way conversion, that Water Street isn't seen as a primary east-west route. Vacation of the right-of-way would not impede access to any adjacent property owner to their property. The applicant owns all of the land on the north side of the vacation, and if approved, it would be absorbed into their parcels. The area of vacation is contained within the northern half. It doesn't cross the halfway line. And then all of the forms of transportation that exist today, sidewalk, street, curb, is all going to be maintained afterwards in the future right-of-way width. All adjacent property owners in the right-of-way must indicate their support of the vacation request in writing. The applicant, CD Arena, owns all of the properties adjacent to this segment of West Water Street because they're only touching that one side of the road with their request. The vacation will not impede the city in meeting its transportation goals. These will not be impeded. The consideration and design and the reconstruction of the roadway will allow this road to be redeveloped in line with the street design manual of the city. Where city projects aren't ongoing, it's when there's street redevelopment for a project, we look that they align it with the street design manual. And in their drafts here so far, they've demonstrated they can meet all those minimum widths for your pedestrian amenities or bike parking, things like that. The vacation will not impact existing and planned utilities in the right-of-way. The developer's proposed relocation is feasible, and they're developing the final utility relocation plan in coordination with the city staff, and that'll all be worked out before permitting and construction. The applicant has the letters from the private utilities in this section of right-of-way, and I'd guess Tim Stewart might know a little more. They're probably about 90% of the way there on the utilities. So it's all looking like it's going to fit in there just fine. And that pretty much covers the utilities. And the vacation will not impede the work of the Department of Kalamazoo Public Safety or the Public Services Department. This request has been evaluated both in the utility coordination meetings, and then we check in with staff on any street request, and these were evaluated, and both departments can don't see that it would impede their ability to do their work. So that's the presentation. Staff recommends approval, and there was a couple of conditions on there as well.
Great, thank you. Any technical questions for staff at this time?
Just one.
Okay.
I was just curious, what is the standard width of a sidewalk?
I would say standard is 5 feet is what you would see in most residential areas. I think 5 feet is minimum ADA. Usually when we're looking for something wider or more pedestrian-focused street design manual, you'll start to see 6 to 8.
Other technical questions for staff?
I suppose that sort of begs the question of, will there be, and sorry, I flipped away from the cross-section, enough width for a sidewalk in a pedestrian-heavy area?
Yep, they, on this, it's shown to be 6 foot on one side, 10 foot on the other, and I believe the minimum in the street design manual is 6 feet.
Thanks.
One question with the vacating a road halfway, sort of like this, I haven't seen this sort of situation before. Is there anything that needs to be done from the city's perspective or anything like that with like relining the road where like you're changing the center line of the road? Is that something that would happen regardless of the event center going forward? Or is that something that would be put upon the applicant when those renovations are occurring? What would that entail from a logistics point of view?
Yeah, whether it's aligned in the center of that future right-of-way, I don't know. We have these draft ones, or these draft concepts, but before the utility work is done and then it's repaved when it's done, there's going to be a full plan for that would show how it would go back. Now, depending on the timing, maybe there's just a rough cover before while the building's built. That's a long way of saying in the path to site plan approval, we would need to see all the road design and layouts. So the real nitty-gritty details would be evaluated then, and then that's where it would be evaluated to make sure that what's placed there meets all the city standards.
Other questions for staff? My only question on and I don't need specifics, but in the easement language, is that sufficiently cover maintenance, seasonal and ongoing, at least in your guys' staff satisfaction?
Yeah, we don't have the easement language, but it's a method we've used before on other projects. A recent one I could think of, I think 2 feet of sidewalk in front of the creamery was put in an easement just like this. So there's some boilerplate language which basically treats it open to the public in perpetuity and the city to go in just as if it was a right-of-way.
And that boilerplate language talks about maintenance and repairs and, okay.
Yep.
Good. If nothing else, then we'll hear from the applicant. Thank you.
Let's get our... You gonna move this up here, Brian? Oh, yeah. So, just want to introduce ourselves. I'm Tim Stewart with Hurley & Stewart Engineers at 2800 South 11th Street in Kalamazoo.
I'm Pete Mitchell. I'm the owner's rep. I live in Grand Rapids. I don't know if you guys want my address, but...
So we're going to just give you a quick overview since we haven't been in front of you in a little while about the project, just a quick overview, and then we'll dive into the Water Street vacation. So I'll let Pete kick us off here.
Do I do it here?
Let's go to we'll just ask her. Go to the next slide.
So just to give you kind of a quick lay of the land, you guys can see. Just, you got pretty much the arena on the north side of the property, and then the creek kind of running through probably the bottom third, and then the parking deck, as you can see, to the southwest corner with a plaza off to the southeast corner. Roughly 430,000 square feet total. Western Michigan men's and women's basketball, Western Michigan hockey, K-Wings hockey, and then an event space on the southwest corner, excuse me. And then a roughly an 1,100 parking space ramp is being proposed. I do want to highlight real quick before we get into it, we did send letters to all of the property owners on the south side of Water Street. I think there were 4 or 5. I did meet personally with 2 of them and kind of went through any comments or concerns, and everybody seemed to be fine that I met with, no complaints. They just wanted to understand timing. Our rendering didn't have any curb cuts in them, so they didn't understand how they were going to get into their parking lot, so I had to explain to them that was just a rendering. And really the rationale for this, to move the parking deck south into the right-of-way, is really to activate the Arcadia Creek corridor and give it a little bit more space from an activity perspective, access for vehicles, and I'll kind of let Tim go from there. So.
Yeah, and one thing I want to, let's go to the next slide, please. So we're going to zoom in on the Water Street corridor, the parking ramp, and you'll see just the south side of the arena, the event center. So right now, that big blue swath that cuts through the middle is the Arcadia Creek. And the little white area in the middle of that is where the former Cooley Street crossed the creek. So one could ask, why not just make the ramps skinnier? Why get into the public right-of-way? And the reason for that is, in order to have a high efficiency ramp with 2 entry and exits, I think it's called a double helix, and so that people don't sit in the ramp for too long. This is the minimum width we can accommodate. So our options without modifying the Water Street right-of-way would have been to move that north, which impacts the creek. We'd have to either relocate the creek or be over it, or it was just not a good solution. So we've looked at moving it south and as minimal distance as possible, and that's at 17 feet. And so you can see with the 2 large structures, the parking ramp and the event center, there's an opportunity there in the middle that's going to be a very busy area. And so if we go to the next slide. Yeah, so these are just the points there. Arcadia Creek bisects the property. The parking deck is a minimum width. We have community gathering space that we're intending to use between the 2 structures. And as it's been touched on already, with all of the utility relocation work we're doing, we really have an opportunity because we are rebuilding Water Street. We're going to tear that up, and I'll show you some drawings here soon. We've got all new utilities going through there, so that's already part of the project. So let's go to the next one. So here again is a kind of a zoomed in portion of that. Water Street is on the bottom on the south side there. And you can see we've got the parking ramp in the middle. We have a community commons area on the east side there along Park Street. And then we have a really nice activated community space between the event center to the north and the parking ramp to the south. And so, I mean, we've got basketball courts there. They could play pickleball. This is a gathering, kind of a tailgating area, and then tied together with the commons on the east side of the ramp. It's going to be really an exciting place to be, and I've got some other renderings that will show you what that's going to look like. Let's go to the next one. And so this gives you an idea. These are kind of slides that go for the feel of that area. We're really, like I said, trying to activate it. We want to have moving water and, like a waterfall and some pond areas. We want to have big plaza areas where people can gather. And so this is the look and the feel, the texture of that area that we're going towards here. Next slide, please. So here's a rendering. This would be from the Park Street, looking west along the length of the creek between the 2 buildings. So again, you've got some exposed creek there. We want to acknowledge that. We've got the 2 buildings on each side,
a lot of, we want some greenery in there. We want some plaza space. The two main entrances, or two of the three main entrances to the event center will be on this side. There's one kind of closer to Westnedge, and then the main entry is going to be on the southeast corner there that lines up with that commons area you saw on the east side of the ramp. There'll be another significant entrance on the north, but that obviously isn't in this view. Let's go to one more, please. Here's a kind of a plaza level view. You can see there's a, this would be the ramp, or excuse me, the, what am I looking at? Yeah, it'd be the parking ramp on the right-hand side, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, and the event center on the left. We've got some activated water, some more green space, some more plaza, really a nice community space. Next slide. And here's sitting in Westnedge Avenue looking west. So here again is this, we've got basketball courts that we're planning on, more activation of this space. And if you go to the next slide, we're thinking, this could be tailgating area, it could be a job fair, it could be tied to events that are going on in the arena, or just a community space as well. It's really provides a really nice opportunity for that area. So there again, that's why we really want to maximize this space, and that 17 feet moving that ramp to the south allows us to do that. Let's see, what's the next slide here? Okay, and here's a little bit of engineering details for you. I color-coded it to try to make it a little easier for you, but this again, north is up along the south side there. This demonstrates, we have the engineering done for all of these utilities. The purple dashed line represents a new consumer's energy duct bank that's going to go in there. That will be closest to the ramp. Then we have a brand new sanitary sewer that we'll be constructing, a new 24-inch water main, and storm sewer, and then new curb and gutter on both sides and sidewalks. And that'll be all completed as part of the arena project. The city actually is participating in a little bit of the sanitary sewer work since they wanted that upsized. But we've got all that worked out. It's already designed. It's out for bid. We know it'll work. Next one, please. And then here again is that same cross-section that Bobby showed you. That gives you a real feel for what that will look again as you're looking from the Park Street side, looking west. And I think that's it. What's the next one? And Bobby hit on all of these. Complies with the street design manual. Fits all the utilities fit. It's a new pedestrian-friendly corridor, and maximizes that community space like we talked about between the two buildings. And next slide. That's it. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Any immediate questions for the applicant while we're here? No? Oh, yes.
I think I saw that there was a sky bridge connecting the two. Is that right? Okay.
That's the plan right now, yes.
Thanks.
Good. Anything else? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Seeing nothing else at the minute, we will open the public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to speak to this, please step forward. And remember, we will take call-in after we've cleared the room of comments. That number is 888-382-9556. Seeing no one immediately rushing up in the audience. Is there anyone on? Oh.
The computer is still thinking, so if you have any questions for applicant or staff, now might be a good time, just to give me a moment.
Yes. Any questions for applicant or staff? Oh, we have one.
This is for staff. Could you, Bobby, just explain the process, the traffic engineer or justification that they have for the lack of additional outreach in this one?
Yes, I did pose that same question to the traffic engineer. He said, no, it doesn't. He said in one aspect the road still remains open, but because of the heavier traffic already and planned to be on Michigan and Kalamazoo Ave, he didn't see that this is going to impact patterns. Obviously, there's going to be a pattern change for people to use the new venue, but given that it can still fit the largest vehicles, he didn't see that it would impact the traffic pattern. So, and then even in absence of that, the applicant, they sent letters anyways as an extra notice beyond the city one.
Was that a comment?
I will check right now. Thank you.
Oh, any other questions for the applicant or for staff? Yes?
Just out of curiosity, I'm kind of wondering, and I don't know if it's the applicant or staff that can answer this, but as far as the other small businesses around the area, how would the arena affect them as far as taxes and insurance and things like that?
I can't speak to taxes, but I don't know if you guys had any information on the economic impact of surrounding businesses is the question?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I in the planning and zoning realm, I don't know if what impact on taxes that would have. I would speculate that it would draw on a lot of pedestrian and vehicular traffic, potential customers is a potential effect of the arena.
Do we anticipate any more requests? We've had a few street vacations, we've had this, which I'm just wondering if there's any others that we should be thinking about.
Not that I'm aware of on this. There's some design thing that's come up.
Not that I'm aware of for the planning commission. I think we will be pursuing a couple variances.
Variances, yeah.
We're still working that out with staff on what those will be. Not anticipating any other vacations.
Nothing left.
I think we've got it covered. So hopefully the arena doesn't grow anymore.
Yeah, very good.
There are no calling comments.
No calling comments. All right. Seeing that, we'll close the public hearing. Any last technical questions? Now I will take a motion, and this is we are the approving body, right? This is a recommendation, okay. So I'll be looking for a motion to recommend approval to the City Commission of the vacation of the northern 17 feet of Water Street between Park and Westnedge with the two conditions that are in the staff report. And just to repeat those, a 4-foot easement be provided as shown on the application exhibit for public utilities and sidewalk. And 2, any private utility relocation will be provided with an easement or relocated at the expense of the developer.
I will move to recommend approval.
Any thought on the conditions?
With the conditions.
With the conditions. All right. We have a motion with the conditions. Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
I am just going to voice my trepidation for any vacation in the downtown core that doesn't engage the public. And I just think it's sort of a link that could be stronger, and I think just being in the downtown kind of justifies more outreach.
In my recommending to approve, I am looking at the redesign of Water Street that's proposed in the renderings and by staff, and thinking about, like, with the city's master plan moving forward, if Water Street were to be rebuilt from scratch, which essentially it would have to be for this project, what it would look like. And I think this is pretty much exactly what we would want it to look like with the master plan. And I definitely hear the concerns about not getting full community outreach. But the literal only thing that we're losing out of Water Street with this vacation is public parking on both sides, which is being addressed by building a giant parking ramp right next to it. So I think any foreseeable community issues would have been addressed, especially the fact that the neighboring properties have been contacted even outside of the requirements that the city may have imposed. So I definitely hear that concern, but I think this is kind of a best case scenario for a redesign of Water Street.
Other comments or questions? Discussion? And looking at the policy, this clearly, in my opinion, meets all the elements of the policy. You know, as you stated, it's still a functioning road with all the elements of this complete streets policy. And, you know, I appreciate the efforts to maintain the creek and everything that goes along with that piece within the city. So, yeah, good stuff. Anything else? Then we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Burgess,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
DeCenzo,
No.
Milliken,
Yes.
and Pitts.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Great. Discussion action items. Nothing there. So city planner report.
A couple of items looking ahead to next month. We're gonna, so far there's been no applications received, but we're looking to do some of our annual work there. So we're looking to do our retreat at that next meeting, and we're going to focus on some education components related to form-based code, particularly our form-based code districts, and some of the state resources that Michigan Association of Planning has is our tentative outline for that. Staff will have the annual report for 2023, and then as well with that, there is the election of officers, which would occur in April. And then lastly, as some of you know, we have some members terming off. I've been in contact about scheduling interviews. There's been posted for a couple weeks now, the city posted that there's openings on the Planning Commission, and we will have a total of 3 openings. So that means who is terming off. That's going to be Commissioner James Pitts, who is at the end of his 2nd term here. Thank you for your time on the Planning Commission for those 2 years. And then Burgess is at the end of 1 term and is not seeking to renew. So thank you for all of your work for the last year. And while he's not here, Michael Harrison is also at the end of his 1st term, and he has decided not to renew it either. So we thank all 3 of you for your work there. And I have a gift for those of you that are here.
Yes, thank you all for your service and your time and your contributions. Very much appreciated. Wow. Aww. No, I like this. Thank you, staff. Can't wait.
I guess my predecessors weren't that thoughtful.
Hey, raising the bar, Bobby. I like it.
So we will be, there's a committee made up of 3 members. Thank you, DeCenzo, Curtis, and Chambers for volunteering for that. I'll be in touch tomorrow with some dates and times, but thank you again for those of you that served on the Planning Commission. And that's all I have for updates and news.
Before you leave, did you get a decent number of applicants since we have 3 seats to fill?
Yep, 6 applicants, and we're going to interview 4.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, thank you all very much. Any questions for Bobby or Christina? All right, we got the site plan list, so we will open up the public comments again for non-agenda items. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? Again, while we wait for the crowds in the audience to storm forward, the call-in number is 888-382-9556. If you're watching online and would like to call in, 888-382-9556. Does that mean someone called in? Is that what that means? Yeah, that's what I thought it is. No? Oh, I thought that's what that meant too. Okay. Well, seeing no one and seeing no one online, we'll move on to the next item. City Commission Liaison, Commissioner Pareto.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Take a moment to echo thanks to Commissioners Pitts, Burgess, and Harrison for your service. I know it takes a lot to step up in these roles, and certainly you all are involved in plenty beyond this work as well, but thank you for your time and service. Encourage the community to definitely put forward names and encourage peers to consider serving, because we need people like you to step forward and do this work, so thank you. I promised on a continuous basis to come back and close the loop. So when you recommend something comes to the full city commission to let you know how things turned out. Turns out we generally agree with everything that you recommend. At the last meeting, we adopted ordinances to rezone the 1316 South Park Street as your recommendation, and the 107 Reed, which were two properties that were inadvertently omitted from the 2000 pieces that were reviewed previously. So we did approve both of those at the last meeting here on Monday. Also wanted to take a minute to just mention that we have a publication that comes out every 2 months now. Hopefully you all received this as well, the City View publication. We actually mailed it this month with both the City View and the View from the Curb, so 2 publications in one. But you should be getting these every 2 months. But what's particularly special is, aside from trying to improve communication with our community, which has been a big goal of the commission, you'll notice things like this. So starting Monday, some pretty significant construction projects started. You probably have seen those, like along Westnedge and Whites Road. But also there's some pretty significant ones happening with Inkster Bridge on Bronson Boulevard and coming up on Ransom as well. So what's neat is, if you're a resident, and if you're maybe not scoping out every post on Facebook or maybe would miss it, it gives you the opportunity to see what's coming up and shows you detours and gives you advice on how to avoid a headache in traffic. And so we're going to continue to do this, and it's a great way to inform people about what's going on. But with that, it's a good transition is the fact that this week really kicked off construction season, which is hard to believe considering it's the first week of March, but there that is. So anyways, that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks for all you do and your time.
Thank you very much. Planning Commissioner comments. Any planning commissioners have comments?
Yes, I would.
Please.
Well, since it is my last meeting, I just want to say some thank yous. Say thank you to the other commissioners. Thank you for serving and doing this. And I know a lot of you do a lot of things beyond what you do here, and it's appreciated. Also, certainly want to thank the staff, the planning department, a very talented professional group, very impressive, and thank you for all you do. This has been an interesting thing to do, and I thank everybody for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Huh?
Okay. Well, again, because I want to thank everybody too. It's been a pleasure and an honor. It's been a roller coaster, but it's been nice. I've seen like this room full with people, and I've seen it empty. And sometimes we have to make those hard decisions. And I feel good that we're leaving it in hands of you other commissioners, that there's a diverse group, and it's been nice, just to have that experience to really see the backdrops of what the city goes through to make sure that that the city grows. You know, the staff is. I take my hat off to you guys because I see that you guys have worked very hard throughout the years, and it's impressive. So, again, it's been a pleasure and an honor serving with you guys, and hopefully, you guys will see me on the other end, you know, and I get a chance to come to you guys and, you know, ask for different things. So, thank you.
Other comments? Anything else? Well, I'll thank the two of you and Michael as well for your work. This is not always the most glamorous or most fun work at all, and oftentimes people are only interested in talking to us when they're mad at us. And so, but it's an important job, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules to do that. So thank you for your contributions to the discourse here. Other than that, spring is upon us. Enjoy, and we'll see you in a month. All right. With the agenda being cleared, we're adjourned.
Thanks for coming. Always right the second time.
So who is operating the computers over here?
When I was doing the presentation, I was.